She was a poor girl, a humble gardener, with nothing but her own kindness. He was a lost old man. Or so she thought. What she didn't know is that this lost old man was a reclusive billionaire in a secret identity. And he was the estate owner of the very ground she was standing on. She gave him her last bottle of water. She had no idea she had just started a life-changing kindness test. Have you ever felt like your kindness is a weakness? That in a world full of greed, being a good person just gets you humiliated? This is that story. This is Beverly Chambers, a gardener struggling just to survive. And this is Cedrick Barber, a billionaire estate owner so cynical, he disguised himself as a poor old man to prove that everyone is selfish. This video is a shocking social experiment, a rich man poor woman story unlike anything you've ever seen. We promise you a heart-touching journey. A story of brutal humiliation, a plot twist that will leave you breathless. And an ending that might just restore your faith in true love and humanity. But this isn't just a simple test. The stakes are about to explode. When a cruel manager decides to frame Beverly for a crime she didn't commit. This billionaire has to make an impossible choice. Will he reveal his secret identity to save the one good person he's found? Or will he watch, in his old man disguise, as her life is completely destroyed? This drama gets intense. You are not going to want to miss a single second of this emotional roller coaster. So let's become a community right now. Comment below I'm ready for the plot twist. Like this video as a sign that you believe kindness still matters. Share this with one person who needs to see a story of hope. And make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because this journey is just getting started. You know, the sun doesn't just shine on an estate like this, it judges. It was beating down, relentless, turning the lush grounds into a beautiful furnace. And right in the middle of it was Beverly Chambers, a gardener in every sense of the word. She wasn't just working the soil, she was part of it. But man, on a day like this, even the strongest spirit gets weary. She was exhausted, her clothes clinging to her, her hands aching. This was the life of the poor girl invisible to the masters of the house. She wiped her brow, leaving a streak of dirt, and looked at her last bottle of water. It was lukewarm, but it was hers, the only relief she'd get for hours. This massive estate, owned by a reclusive billionaire, felt like another planet. A planet where she was just a tiny, forgotten moon. Her world was sweat, soil, and the constant, quiet struggle to get by. She sighed, uncapping the bottle, ready for that small moment of peace. This simple act was a ritual, a small claim on her own life. That's when she saw him. An old man, disheveled and looking utterly lost. He looked frail, confused, and dangerously dehydrated under the oppressive sun. He was muttering to himself, his eyes vacant. Just lost. Beverly's exhaustion was immediately overshadowed by a wave of pure compassion. This wasn't a place for someone so vulnerable to be wandering alone. He looked like he could collapse at any second, a forgotten ghost. He was, without her knowing, wearing the perfect old man disguise. This, right here, was a test. Not that she knew it. It was an unscripted moment of drama playing out on the immaculate lawn. She looked at her water. Her last water. She looked at the old man, his lips cracked and dry. The internal debate lasted, well, maybe half a second. That's just who she was. She walked over, her heavy boots barely making a sound on the grass. Her own thirst could wait. His, it seemed, couldn't. She held out the bottle. Here, she said, her voice soft but clear. You look like you need this more than I do, sir. The old man looked up, his eyes sharp for just a second, a flash of surprise. He took the bottle with a trembling hand, a performance of frailty. He didn't know it yet, but this gardener just changed the game. Beverly Chambers had just handed her last possession to a stranger. This was an act of pure, unadulterated kindness. What she couldn't possibly know was the shocking truth. This wasn't a lost soul. This was the estate owner himself. This was Cedrick Barber, the man whose name was whispered but never seen. The billionaire who owned the very ground she stood on. He was deep into a personal kindness test, cynical and tired of the world. He was using a secret identity to find one. Just one. Good person. And had just found her. Let's just pause here for a second. This is a life-changing moment, but only one of them knows it. She gave away her only comfort, expecting nothing in return. Hit that like button right now if you believe that kind of selfless kindness still exists. It's a small click, but it's a nod to the Beverly Chambers of the world. It's a validation of a value that's all too rare. And trust me, this single act of kindness set off a chain reaction. Cedrick watched her as she gave him a small, tired smile and turned back to her roses. She didn't linger, didn't ask for a reward, didn't seem to think she'd done anything special. She just did it. And went back to work. The billionaire, disguised as a poor old man, was stunned into silence. He had expected to be ignored, or worse, shooed away like a pest. He came looking for the worst in people, for greed. He found simple, heart-touching decency instead. This was a plot twist in his own cynical narrative. The poor girl had just shown more class than any of his rich acquaintances. This gardener, Beverly, had no idea she was at the center of a high-stakes test. Cedrick Barber, the estate owner, stood there holding the water bottle. The test was far from over. But the results were already getting complicated. This was the quiet beginning of a story that would soon explode. A story that would involve redemption, betrayal, and maybe even true love. Beverly's world, you see, wasn't complicated, but it was hard. Her reality was one of endless, grinding work and quiet, unshakable integrity. She was the first to arrive and the last to leave the gardens. It wasn't just a job, it was a calling, a strange love story with the earth. She struggled, oh man, did she struggle. The pay was barely enough to cover rent and her mother's medical bills. She was the definition of the poor girl in the rich man poor woman dynamic. She knew every inch of these grounds, every flower, every weed. But she also knew the people. She always had a kind word for the kitchen staff, a smile for the other groundskeepers. She treated everyone with a baseline of kindness that was almost jarring. In a place where hierarchy was everything, Beverly saw only other people. She believed that your character wasn't defined by your bank account. A belief that was, frankly, alien in a place like this. She would often find herself staring up at the grand manor, a fortress of wealth. The estate owner was a phantom, a billionaire nobody ever saw. She wondered what kind of person could own all of this and remain invisible. Did they appreciate the scent of the night-blooming jasmine she cared for? Or was it all just a collection? An asset on a balance sheet? This gap between her world and theirs was a canyon. It made her feel small, but it never made her feel bitter. That integrity was her armor. It would have been so easy to skim, to steal, to cut corners.
Who would notice a few missing tools? Or misplaced decorative pot? But that wasn't Beverly Chambers. Her poverty didn't define her morals, it sharpened them. She was struggling, yes, but she would not be broken. She would not let the need for money corrupt the goodness of her spirit. This quiet strength was her defining feature. She worked with meticulous care that bordered on reverence. The other staff, the ones who had been there for years, they noticed. They saw how she handled the plants, how she spoke to the delivery drivers. She was a small beacon of decency in a world of rigid, cold professionalism. This wasn't an act, and it wasn't for show. It was just Beverly. And all this time, she was being watched. Cedrick Barber, now in his old man disguise, was taking it all in. He saw her share her meager lunch with a stray cat. He saw her helping another gardener finish his section, even though she was behind. These weren't part of his kindness test. These were spontaneous acts of grace. These small, heart-touching moments were painting a picture for him. He saw her interacting with the grounds, her quiet integrity on full display. She would pick up trash left by other, more careless staff members. She never complained, not even when she was given the worst tasks. This was a stark contrast to the whispers and backbiting he heard elsewhere. This poor girl had a quiet nobility that the billionaire found shocking. It was a surprise he hadn't prepared for. He was starting to realize his simple test was anything but. The drama was all internal for now, unfolding behind Cedrick's disguised eyes. He had built this estate as a shield from the world, from people. He was cynical, isolated, and convinced of humanity's inherent greed. But Beverly Chambers, she was an anomaly. She was a variable he hadn't factored into his equation. A woman who struggled to make ends meet, but was, by all accounts, rich in character. This was a life-changing realization for a man who thought he knew everything. She just kept working, oblivious to the powerful gaze fixed upon her. Her hard work was her prayer, her integrity her code. She was just trying to survive another day, to do her job well. She had no idea that the estate owner was walking among them. She didn't know that her simple, decent life was becoming the most emotional and fascinating story he had ever encountered. And his test was about to get much, much harder. Now let's flip the coin. Let's talk about Cedrick Barber's world. It was the polar opposite of Beverly's. His world was one of suffocating luxury, profound isolation, and deep suspicion. You see, when you're a billionaire, the world isn't real. It's a performance, staged entirely for your benefit. Everyone wants something. Every smile is a negotiation. This rich man was emotionally bankrupt. He had built this estate as a fortress against the greed he saw everywhere. He trusted no one, not his family, not his board, and certainly not his staff. He was estate owner, a title that felt more like a prison sentence. He was cynical, hardened by years of people proving his worst assumptions correct. He believed kindness was just a tool, a manipulation used to get something. He was tired, man, just so tired of the lies. This was the drama of the rich man, poor woman story you never see. So he came up with his plan, this crazy, desperate plan. He would vanish. The billionaire Cedrick Barber would be on a trip, and in his place a frail, confused old man would appear. It was the perfect secret identity. No one pays attention to the weak, the old, the poor. He could finally see the truth. He could walk his own halls and see what people were really like. This whole thing, it was one big, elaborate kindness test. He wasn't looking for kindness, he was looking for its absence. He wanted to confirm his suspicions, to root out the greedy and the cruel. He wanted to prove, once and for all, that everyone was playing angle. His disguise was his laboratory, and his staff were the subjects. A shocking move, sure, but he felt it was necessary. He felt he was owed the truth, no matter how ugly. He had disguised himself perfect like prosthetics, old clothes, a convincing tremor. He was the invisible man, the ghost at his own feast. And the results, at first, were exactly what he expected. Staff members ignored him. Some were rude, whispering about the vagrant. They saw a frail old man, not their boss, and their true colors bled through. It fed his cynicism, confirming his bleak worldview. See, he thought, this is who they are. He was isolated in his wealth, and now he was isolated in his disguise. He was the most powerful man for miles, yet he felt utterly powerless. He was surrounded by luxury, but was living the life of the unseen. It was a bitter, lonely experiment, and he was the only one in on the joke. The estate owner was role-playing as the lowest of the low, and it was, in a twisted way, proving him right. He was a master of a universe he had come to despise. But then, Beverly Chambers, the poor girl, the gardener, she didn't just pass his test, she broke the entire rubric. She gave him her water. It was a simple act, but it was real. It was the first real thing that had happened to Cedrick in decades. A genuine act of kindness with no audience. Except for him. The surprise was unwelcome at first. It complicated his narrative, his carefully constructed wall of cynicism. She wasn't supposed to be kind. She, who had the most reason to be bitter. The billionaire was suspicious. Was this an angle, too? Was she somehow playing a long game? He decided his kindness test wasn't over. It had only just begun. He would focus on her. He would push her. He would test the limits of that heart-touching compassion. He had to know if it was real. The rich man simply couldn't accept that this poor girl was better than him, better than everyone. This secret identity now had a new, singular purpose: to find the breaking point of Beverly Chambers. He just had to know if her integrity had a price. So the test intensified. This wasn't a one-off encounter. Cedrick, deep in his old man disguise, made it a point to be in her path. He would accidentally wander into the greenhouses, a restricted area, head act confused, demanding to know where he was. He was intentionally being a nuisance, a burden. He would try to find that crack, that flicker of annoyance. He was pushing her hard, waiting for her kindness to fail. But Beverly was something else. She'd find him among the rare orchids, looking lost. Instead of yelling, she'd gently guide him out, her voice never rising. "It's easy to get turned around in here. Sir," she'd say, "let me help you." She treated him with a genuine compassion that was staggering. She treated this confused old man like a person, not a problem. Her patience seemed to have no end. He'd ask her the same questions, over and over. "What's your name again, dearie?" "It's Beverly, sir. Beverly Chambers." "And what is it you do, Beverly Chambers?" "I'm a gardener, sir. I take care of the flowers." 5 minutes later. "I'm sorry, what was your name?" This would drive anyone crazy. It was a deliberate, psychological poke. But Beverly would just smile, a little tired, and say, "It's still Beverly, sir." This drama was a silent one, a battle of wills she didn't even know she was in. Cedrick, the billionaire, was using all his acting skills. He'd complain about the heat. He'd complain about the benches. He was being demanding, grumpy, and difficult. And Beverly, the poor girl, just absorbed it. She'd find him a shady spot. She'd listen to his rambling complaints. She treated him with the dignity he was pretending not to have. Wow, just think about that. This gardener was giving more respect to a vagrant than the man's own family gave him. This consistent, unwavering compassion was a shocking revelation. It was heart-touching, yes, but it was also deeply confusing for Cedrick. He was the estate owner, a man used to performances. But this felt real. He was witnessing virtue in its purest form. He watched her when she thought no one was watching. He saw her tending to a broken bird's wing, fashioning a small splint. He saw her picking up tools left by others, finishing tasks that weren't hers. Her kindness wasn't performance for him. It was her default setting. This wasn't part of the kindness test. This was just her, and it was starting to have a life-changing effect on the man in the old man disguise. He was starting to feel ashamed. Here he was, a rich man with infinite power, playing cruel games. And here she was, a poor girl with nothing, living a life of grace. The rich man, poor woman dynamic was suddenly crystal clear. He had all the money, but she had all the wealth. This realization hit him like a physical blow. He was the one who was truly poor. But the test wasn't over. The cynic in him still wasn't satisfied. He needed more. He needed an undeniable test. He needed to see her choose between her integrity and her survival. This secret identity game was getting emotional, even for him. He was starting to care about what she would do, and that scared him more than anything. He wasn't just observing. Anymore, he was becoming invested. This patient, genuine compassion was a puzzle. It flew in the face of everything he knew about human nature. Beverly Chambers was an impossibility, a statistical error, and he had to know if it was foolproof. This love story, not a romantic one, not yet, but a story about human love was captivating him. The billionaire was hooked, and the next test would be the cruelest one yet. The drama was about to get a villain, a real one. You see, Cedrick wasn't the only one watching Beverly. The cruel head manager, a man named Thompson, had his eyes on her, too. Thompson was the worst kind of employee, a bully to those below him, a sycophant to those above. He hated seeing Beverly wasting time with the old vagrant. To him, this old man was a nuisance, a piece of trash to be disposed of, and Beverly's kindness was, in his eyes, a weakness. It happened on a busy afternoon, right in the main courtyard. Cedrick, in his old man disguise, was asking Beverly about a specific rose. She was patiently explaining its history, treating him with her usual warmth. Suddenly, Thompson stormed over, his face a mass of thunder. "Chambers, what do you think you're doing?" His voice was a bullwhip, cracking across the quiet air. The surprise on Beverly's face was instant. I was just helping this gentleman, Mr. Thompson." "Gentleman?" Thompson sneered, looking Cedrick up and down with pure disgust. "You're wasting company time coddling this thing. Get back to work." He didn't stop there. He did it publicly, in front of the other groundskeepers, in front of the kitchen staff on their break. He was making an example of her. It was a raw, calculated act of public humiliation. "You're paid to trim hedges, Chambers, not run a charity," he yelled. Beverly's face turned bright red. She was humiliated. She shrank under his verbal assault, her eyes filling with tears. "Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir." She was crushed, shamed for the very thing that made her special, her kindness. This was a shocking display of cruelty. And Cedrick watched it all. He stood there, in his old man disguise, utterly powerless. He, the billionaire estate owner, just watched his best employee be torn apart. He watched her be humiliated for being kind to him. The irony was so thick, so bitter, he could taste it. This was a part of the kindness test he hadn't accounted for. The cruelty of other people. The manager was protecting his interests, he thought. Let's check in here, because this is hard to watch. That manager, his behavior is just vile. What's one word you would use to describe that manager right now? Drop it in the comments below. Let's get it out. Because that kind of abuse of power is infuriating. And it's central to this heart-touching story. The poor girl was just trying to be decent. Beverly, humiliated and heartbroken, fled back to her work, fighting back tears. She didn't defend herself. She didn't talk back. She just took the abuse. It was a brutal reminder of her place in this world. She was replaceable. She was a gardener. She was nothing. Her spirit, which had been so resilient, felt like it was finally breaking. This was a life-changing blow to her quiet dignity. Cedrick's blood was boiling. The audacity of this man, Thompson, but he couldn't break character. Not yet. Revealing his secret identity now would ruin the entire experiment. So he stored the information. He filed away the manager's face, his words, the smirk he gave. Oh, yes, there would be a redemption for this. A day of reckoning was coming. This event added a new, dark layer to the drama. It wasn't just about Beverly's goodness anymore. It was about the system that tried to punish that goodness. Cedrick Barber, the billionaire, felt a cold, hard rage settle in his chest. His test was no longer just an experiment. It was now a quest for justice. But first, there was one final test for Beverly, the big one. The next phase of the kindness test was the ultimate moral dilemma. Cedrick knew Beverly was poor. He knew she had just been humiliated. She was vulnerable, and she was hurting. Now, he thought, we'll see. He accidentally dropped his wallet. Not his old man wallet, but his real one. He made sure it fell right in her path, near the remote potting sheds. He watched from a distance, his heart pounding, hidden behind a large oak. This was it, the moment of truth. Beverly Chambers, her eyes still red from the manager's tirade, saw it. A fine, black leather wallet. She looked around. No one, she thought. She picked it up, her hands dirty from soil. This was a plot twist in her already terrible day. She opened it, just to find an ID, and she froze. It was full of cash. Hundreds, thousands. Man, just try to imagine that. This poor girl, who counts every penny, who was just shamed for her work. She was holding more money than she made in 6 months. This was life-changing money. It was her mother's medical bills. It was rent. It was food. This was the ultimate rich man, poor woman moment. The billionaire's pocket change was her entire life. This was the real test. All she had to do was slip it into her apron. No one would know. Who would suspect her? The old man she was kind to? He's just a senile wanderer. This was her chance. Her escape. Okay, this is the big one. The moral dilemma CTA. Let's all be brutally honest with ourselves right now. You're broke. You're humiliated. Your life is falling apart. You find a wallet stuffed with cash. No one is looking. Be honest, would you take the money? Or would you turn it in? Let me know in the comments. There's no wrong answer, just your answer. This is the heart-touching core of the drama. Beverly stood there for what felt like an eternity. The billionaire estate owner held his breath, watching. He could see the conflict. Or maybe he was projecting it. He saw her close her eyes, take one deep, shuddering breath. This is it, he thought. This is where the kindness ends. This is where she becomes like everyone else. He wanted her to pass, but he expected her to fail. Then she did something shocking. She snapped the wallet shut. She didn't take a single bill. Her face, which had been conflicted, now settled into one of pure, hard resolve. She tucked the wallet into her apron not to hide it, but to secure it. And she marched. She didn't just walk. She marched directly to the main security office. Cedrick was floored. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. This gardener, this poor girl, didn't even hesitate. She didn't skim. She didn't take a finder's fee. She found it, saw it was full of cash, and immediately turned it in, untouched. The kindness test was over. The results were in, and they were more spectacular than he could have ever imagined. Beverly Chambers wasn't just a good person. She was a person of incorruptible integrity. She had just been handed the solution to all her problems, and she gave it back. Cedrick felt profound surprise, quickly followed by a deep aching. Joy. He was wrong. His cynicism was wrong. This poor girl had just proven his entire worldview false. And that was the most emotional moment of his life. Man, that's a moment, isn't it? The billionaire, hiding in the bushes, watching his test fail in the most glorious way. Cedrick Barber's hardened, cynical heart. It cracked. It didn't just soften, it broke open. He had spent decades building walls to protect himself from human greed. And this gardener, Beverly Chambers, just walked right through them. Not with force, but with simple, quiet kindness. He felt a warmth spread through his chest, something he hadn't felt in. God, how long? It was hope. This rich man was being saved from his own isolation by the poor girl he was testing. The rich man, poor woman narrative was suddenly all about character, not cash. He was the one who was truly bankrupt. And she was the estate owner of a moral kingdom. This was a life-changing pivot. He thought back on everyone else. His executives, who would smile to his face and stab him in the back for a bonus. His family, who saw him as a walking, talking vault. The staff who ignored him, who treated him with contempt in his old man disguise. He saw all their greed, their dismissiveness, their endless taking. They were all part of the drama of his life, a play he was sick of watching. They were the sickness he had come to believe was universal. And then he thought of Beverly. Beverly, who gave her last water. Beverly, who endured humiliation for being kind. Beverly, who returned a wallet full of cash she desperately needed. She was the antithesis of his entire world. She was a stark, heart-touching contrast. She was an anomaly, she was a standard he had failed to meet. His kindness test had been a secret identity game to expose the worst in people. But now it had exposed the best. The surprise wasn't just that she passed, it was that she did it so easily. There was no real struggle for her. Her integrity was as natural to her as breathing. That was the shocking part. He realized he wasn't testing her, she was teaching him. The billionaire felt his suspicion just evaporate. It was replaced by a profound, overwhelming sense of awe. He was in the presence of something truly rare. And he, in his arrogance, had almost missed it. He had been so focused on the dirt that had missed a diamond. This gardener was the most valuable thing on his entire estate. More valuable than the art, the cars, or the mansion itself. He had to know more. But not as a test. Not anymore. He was genuinely, deeply fascinated by her. What made her this way? How did she protect that light in a world so dark. The cynic in him was still there, but it was wounded. It was dying, and in its place, something new was growing. It felt a lot like redemption. He decided to continue the old man disguise, but for a different reason. Not to test, but to learn. He wanted to talk to her, to understand her. This love story was beginning, not a romance, but one of a man learning to love humanity again. And it was all because of the poor girl who tended his roses. This was the plot twist he never saw coming. His hardened heart was beginning to heal, but he had one more interaction planned. Not a test of integrity, but a test of her boundaries. He was still the estate owner, and he was still in control, or so he thought. He needed to see her, just one more time, as the old man, to see if that kindness had a limit. The drama wasn't quite over. The next day, he found her on her lunch break, sitting alone under a tree. She looked tired, the humiliation from the manager still hanging over her. Cedrick, still in his old man disguise, shuffled over, looking weaker than ever. He put on his most pathetic voice. "Miss Beverly, I'm so hungry. They won't let me in the kitchen." This was a new level of the kindness test. He was now asking her to break the rules for him. Beverly looked up, her emotional exhaustion clear on her face. She knew the rules. Everyone knew the rules. Taking food from the staff kitchen, even scraps, was a fireable offense. The cruel manager, Thompson, would love to catch her doing that. It was instant dismissal. No questions asked. This was a shocking request, putting her in an impossible position. She was being asked to choose between her job and her kindness. She shook her head gently, her voice full of genuine regret. "Sir, I can't do that. I'm so sorry." She explained that it was stealing, that she would be fired on the spot. The billionaire's heart sank a little. Was this it? The limit? Was her kindness conditional on it not costing her anything? He pushed just a little, but him starving. And then, man, she did again. She looked at him, then at the simple, small paper bag next to her. It was her own packed lunch, just like the water bottle. It was all she had, a small sandwich and an apple. She didn't hesitate. She just handed it to him. "I can't get you food from the kitchen," she said softly, "but you can have mine." Wow, this poor girl, who was probably just as hungry as he was pretending to be, gave away her own food. She gently refused to break her integrity, but she refused to let him go hungry. She found a third way, a way that cost her, and only her. This was not just kindness. This was sacrifice. This heart-touching moment was a final, undeniable proof. The kindness test was obliterated. Cedrick Barber stood there, holding her small lunch. He was speechless. The billionaire estate owner had just been schooled in ethics. He, the rich man, had tried to trap her, and she, the poor girl, had responded with pure, selfless grace. This rich man, poor woman dynamic was a complete joke. She was the rich one in every way that mattered. This was a definition of true love for one's fellow man. He felt humbled, a feeling this billionaire had never experienced. He, Cedrick Barber, was humbled by his own gardener. He took the lunch, mumbled a thank you, and walked away. He couldn't keep up the old man disguise much longer. The emotional weight of what he had just seen was too much. This life-changing encounter had sealed his new opinion of her. He knew what he had to do. This secret identity game was over. It was time for the estate owner to return. It was time for justice. He had found the one good person he was looking for. He had found Beverly Chambers. And now, he was going to turn her world upside down. But the drama wasn't done with her. As Cedrick walked away, a different set of eyes was watching. The cruel manager, Thompson. He had seen Beverly talking to the old man again. He had seen her give him her lunch. And in his twisted, jealous mind, this was a final straw. He was going to destroy her. The manager, Thompson, was seething. His jealousy was a poison. He had humiliated Beverly, and yet here she was, still defying him, still showing kindness to that. Vagrant. He saw her goodness as a personal insult, a rebellion. He was jealous of the attention the old man gave her. He decided that if shaming her didn't work, framing her wood. This, my friends, is the gancho de reengagimento. This is a false defeat, the moment where everything goes wrong. Thompson, the story's true villain, enacted a shocking plan. He knew the estate owner, the reclusive billionaire Cedrick Barber, had one prized possession, a collection of rare, priceless orchids. They were his one known passion. To steal one was the ultimate crime on the estate. Thompson waited until the end of the day. He knew Beverly was the last one to check the greenhouses. He used his master key, slipped inside, and cut the bloom of the rarest flower, a flower worth more than Beverly's yearly salary. It was a cold, calculated act of sabotage. This was a plot twist driven by pure malice. The drama was about to reach its terrible climax. He slipped out and went straight to the locker room. He knew she left her bag there while she did her final rounds. It was laughably easy. He took the priceless orchid and planted it deep inside her personal bag. He tucked it underneath her sweater, a venomous surprise waiting for her. He had the evidence. He had the motive head invent one. He was going to ruin the poor girl. He discovered the theft himself. Of course. He raised the alarm just as Beverly was punching out. The orchid, the Phalaenopsis Zed Barber. It's gone. He immediately locked down the estate. No one leaves. Search everyone. His eyes were locked right on Beverly. He was enjoying this. This was his redemption for her defiance. Beverly was confused, scared. She had no idea what was happening. The security team, following Thompson's suggestion, started with her. Mr. Thompson seems to think you've been acting strangely, Ms. Chambers. What? No. They didn't listen. They grabbed her bag. The gardener stood there, helpless, as her life was turned inside out. She was the perfect scapegoat. Thompson watched, a cruel smirk playing on his lips. He had her. She was finished. The poor girl, who had nothing but her integrity, was about to have that stolen from her. This was the ultimate humiliation, a frame-up she couldn't escape. She was being framed for theft by the real thief. This was the darkest moment. The security guard opened her bag. He reached inside, his face serious. Beverly's heart was pounding. She still didn't understand. And then he pulled it out. The flower. The room went silent. This shocking discovery sealed her fate. Beverly's world just ended. This is a low point. The valley of injustice. The one person who was pure, who was good, was being destroyed. Her kindness had been twisted and used as a weapon against her. The heart-touching story just became a tragedy. But remember, the billionaire has been watching. He may be in his old man disguise, but he's seen everything. The game isn't over. Not by a long shot. The silence in security office was deafening. Beverly Chambers just stared at the orchid. It was a shocking surprise, a nightmare she couldn't wake from. I don't. How did that? She was stammering, her mind racing, unable to process the plot twist. She had never seen that flower up close before. She knew it was the estate owner's most prized plant. Thompson stepped forward, his voice dripping with false outrage. So, we find the thief. After all your laziness, Chambers, you're a thief too. He dragged her, literally dragged her by the arm. Back to the office, the security team followed, the evidence in hand. This was a humiliation she had dreaded her entire life being. Accused of the one thing she prized, her integrity, this drama was playing out just as the manager had planned. She was dragged before the head of security and the manager. The evidence was laid on the table. Ms. Chambers, this is a Phalaenopsis Zed Barber, the security chief said gravely. It was found in your personal bag. Do you have an explanation? Beverly was sobbing now, tears of pure, terrified innocence. I swear on my life. But I have never seen that before. Her pleas were desperate, emotional, and completely useless. The evidence was discovered. It was undeniable she was a poor girl. The gardener, he was a head manager. Whose word do you think they took? I saw her near the greenhouse acting suspicious all week. Thompson lied. She was always sneaking around. I knew she was up to no good. He was painting her kindness as a cover for her crimes. It was a masterful, cruel performance. Please, Beverly begged, looking from face to face, that I would never steal. You all know me. But their faces were hard, the evidence was right there, the manager had played his part perfectly, the humiliation was total. She was a thief in their eyes. She was ruined. This was a betrayal she couldn't comprehend. The verdict was instant: you were fired, effective immediately. MS at Chambers. The words hit her like a physical blow. Fired, not just fired, but fired for theft. She would be blacklisted and no other estate would ever hire her. Her life, her ability to care for her mother. It was over. This was a life-changing destruction. She was in shock, unable to even speak through her tears. Her pleas of innocence were just. Got noise to them, the manager, Thompson, watched with a look of cold, hard satisfaction. He had won. He had crushed the one person whose goodness made him feel small. The billionaire's test had inadvertently led to this. His search for kindness had led to its complete and utter destruction, or so it seemed. Beverly, the poor girl who had shown nothing but grace, was now labeled a criminal. The rich man, poor woman dynamic had never been more brutal. The powerful, cruel man had destroyed the powerless. Kind woman, this heart-touching story had turned into a horror show. She felt her kindness had been her doom. She was innocent, but she was found guilty, and as they prepared to escort her off the property, no one noticed the lost old man standing in the shadows of the hallway. Cedrick Barber had watched the entire thing. His secret identity was intact, but the man behind the old man disguise was a volcano of cold, precise rage. The real drama was just about to begin. This was not the end. This was the triggered, heartbroken, doesn't even begin to cover it. Beverly was shattered. She was humiliated beyond words. A shell of her former self, she was escorted off the property by security. Like a common criminal, they didn't even let her go back to her locker. They handed her a plastic bag with her few belongings. This was a reward for her kindness. As she walked that long, lonely path to the main gate, her life flashed before her eyes. Every moment of hard work, every act of integrity that for what? It all led to this ruin. She felt like a fool, a poor girl who dared to be good in a world that punishes it. Her kindness hadn't saved her, had made her a target. The manager's smug face was burned into her memory. This emotional devastation was complete. She clutched the bag, her knuckles white, tears streaming down her face. This was the ultimate rich man, poor woman lesson. The rich and powerful, like Thompson, do whatever they want, and the poor, like her, pay the price. Her heart-touching belief in simple decency felt like a joke. She felt naive, stupid, and totally alone. Her life was over that, and you know the worst part, as she passed the rose bushes she had so lovingly tended. She saw him, the old man, the one she had helped, the one she had sacrificed for. He was just watching her. He was standing by a tree, his face a mask of what? She couldn't read it. That conflict, pity, indifference. He watched her be escorted out, humiliated and broken. Man, that had to be the final twist of the knife. The very person she had protected, the one she had lost her job over, just stood there and watched her leave. He didn't say anything. He didn't defend her. Her final act of kindness had led to this. This was a shocking betrayal, or at least it felt like one. The billionaire was playing his part too well as Cedrick Barber, still in his old man disguise. Watch her gold in his face was, indeed, a mask of terrible conflict. This was his fault, this kindness test, his secret identity. It had all gone too far. He had let an innocent woman be humiliated and destroyed. He had the power to stop it at any second, but he didn't. He had to let the drama play out. He had to see the whole truth. He watched her walk out of gates, her shoulders slumped in defeat. He felt a rage so cold and pure it scared him, a rage directed at the manager, Thompson. Yes, but also a rage directed at himself. He, the billionaire estate owner, had created this situation, and he was responsible for her. Pain, this was his plot twist to fix. This was the end of the old man. The kindness test was over. The results were in dot, and the price of those results was the ruin of Beverly Chambers. Or was it? Cedrick turned, his frail body suddenly rigid with purpose. He walked, not to the main house, but to his private, hidden office. The redemption phase was about to begin. Beverly went home, her life in tatters. She felt that her kindness had been a terrible, life-changing mistake. She had no job, no prospects, and a false accusation of theft hanging over her head. The poor girl had lost everything. She cried herself to sleep, believing her story was over. She had no idea that the estate owner was about to rewrite the entire book. The real surprise was yet to come. The next morning, the estate was Different, there was a tension in the air. The cruel manager, Thompson, was walking around with an extra swagger. He had won. He had removed the problem gardener. But the frail old man was nowhere to be seen. He had vanished, and no one paid it much mind if vagrants come and go. Then, at precisely 9 o'clock a.m., a sound filled the air. Thwop, 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 thwop. It was a sound no one on the staff had ever heard this close. A sleek, black helicopter was descending on the main lawn. The staff froze, staring in shocking disbelief. This wasn't a guess. This was something else. This was pure, unadulterated power. The blade slowed, and the door slid open. The entire staff, including Thompson, gathered at a distance, breathless. A man stepped out. He was not old. He was not frail. He was tall, powerful, and dressed in an impeccable bespoke suit. But his face was the same one from the old man disguise, but without it, it was sharp, commanding, and his eyes were like ice. This was Cedrick Barber, the billionaire, the estate-owned man. The surprise was so profound. People literally gasped. This was a phantom. Thompson's face went from smug to ghost white in a nanosecond. He recognized the eyes. It was the old man. The secret identity was revealed, and the plot twist was devastating. The vagrant he had ordered around, the man he had seen humiliated, was a man who signed his paycheck. That Cedrick Barber didn't look at anyone. He just strode toward the main house, his security team following around him. His arrival was a thunderclap, a life-changing event for everyone present. The drama had just entered its final act. The billionaire was no longer testing. He was judging that, and he had seen everything that Thompson looked like he was going to be sick. He had humiliated the poor girl. But in front of the rich man, he had insulted, berated, and dismissed the estate owner to his face. There are bad days at work. And then there's this was a career-ending, life-ending mistake. The shocking truth was out. The old man disguise was the most brilliant, terrifying kindness test ever conceived. The entire staff was stunned, rooted to the spot. They had all, at some point, ignored the old man. They were all complicit. In their own small ways, the rich man had walked among them as a poor one. Done they had all, except for one, failed his test of basic human kindness. The air was thick with terror and regret. Cedrick didn't pause. He didn't stop. He walked into his house for the first time as himself in weeks. He gave a single, quiet order to his head of security. Get everyone in the main hall. That everyone, now the estate owner was back, and he was about to hold court. That redemption was coming. But so was retribution. This was a surprise to end all surprises. The heart-touching story of the gardener and the old man was actually a high-stakes drama between a poor girl, a cruel manager, and a billionaire in disguise. The rich man, poor woman dynamic was about to be flipped. Hard. This was going to be emotional. The main hall was silent. You could hear a pin drop. The entire staff was lined up, trembling. The manager Thompson was at the front, visibly sweating. His face paled. Cedrick Barber stood before them, not as a frail old man, but as a king. The billionaire estate owner looked over the crowd, his gaze missing nothing. The drama was palpable for the past few weeks. He began, his voice calm and clear. I've been conducting a review of this estate and its staff. Thompson tried to step forward to welcome him back, but Cedrick silenced him with a look that I took a personal interest in the day-to-day operations. He let that hang in the air. The secret identity was now public knowledge, and the shame was thick. And I installed my own security footage. Cedrick said. He gestured to a massive screen that flickered to life. That most of you fail my little kindness test. He said it so quietly. It was brutal. You ignored me. You dismissed me. You treated me as less than human. He looked at the kitchen staff. You denied a starving old man a crust of bread. He looked at the security. You saw me as a problem to be handled. But then his eyes landed on Thompson. And you saw me as an excuse for your cruelty. The screen lit up. It wasn't the main security feed. It was Cedrick's footage, hidden cameras, that showed everything. That showed Thompson storming into the greenhouse, that it showed him cutting the orchid. The staff gasped. This was a shocking plot twist. They all thought Beverly had done it. The footage continued, but it clearly showed the manager planting the orchid in Beverly's bag. It was undeniable, crystal clear. Thompson's guilt was exposed for everyone to see. The man who had humiliated the poor girl was the real criminal. Beverly Chambers was innocent. The entire staff was stunned. The surprise was so complete. People were covering their mouths. The gardener they had seen fired, humiliated, and dragged away was the only innocent person in the entire drama. That Thompson looked like a trapped animal. He'd been caught red-handed by the billionaire he was trying to impress. This was a life-changing moment of truth. Cedrick let the footage play. He showed Thompson berating Beverly for wasting time. He showed the entire public humiliation. He was exposing the manager's sickness. Piece by piece, the emotional tide in the room turned. They weren't afraid of Cedrick anymore. They were horrified by Thompson. Beverly's innocence was proven. The heart-touching kindness she had shown was real. The theft was a lie. Cedrick Barber had the proof. This old man disguise wasn't just a test of kindness. It was a net, and he had just caught his rat. The billionaire estate owner looked at Thompson. "Do you have anything to say, Mr. Thompson?" Thompson just crumbled. He fell to his knees. But Cedrick wasn't interested in apologies. He was interested in justice. The poor girl was about to be avenged. The redemption of Beverly Chambers was at hand, and the rich man was going to deliver it himself. Cedrick Barber looked down at the pathetic, crumbling manager. His voice was quiet. "Lethal, you didn't just steal from me. Thompson, you tried to destroy an innocent woman." He gestured to the screen, which now showed Beverly giving the old man her lunch. A woman who showed more integrity and kindness in one day than you have shown in your entire pathetic life. The drama was at its absolute peak. "You publicly humiliated her," Cedrick continued, his voice rising just a little. "So I will publicly fire you." Man, the power in that moment. "You are fired, effective immediately." But he wasn't done. "Security," he barked. "The same guards who had dragged Beverly. Escort this thief off my property." Now, this was the ultimate plot twist. The man who had humiliated Beverly was now being humiliated himself in front of the entire staff. He was dragged out, shouting, pleading, but it was useless. The estate owner had passed the sentence. This wasn't just redemption for Beverly, it was justice. The shocking surprise left the staff breathless. The room was silent again as the manager's shouts faded. Cedrick Barber, the billionaire, stood there. His kindness test was complete. The cancer was removed. But there was one more piece of business. He turned to his personal head of security. "Get my personal car," he ordered. "The Bentley. Go to this address. Find Beverly Chambers." His voice softened just a fraction, but everyone heard it. "Find her and bring her back to the estate." He paused, adding the most important part. "And you will treat her with the utmost respect." This was a life-changing command. The poor girl who had been fired was now being summoned personally by the billionaire estate owner. The rich man, poor woman story was about to be rewritten. The car, a symbol of his immense wealth, sped off. The staff was left to process the shocking events. The gardener they had pitied, the one they had watched be ruined, was apparently the hero of this whole story. Her kindness, which they had seen as a weakness, was her superpower. It was the only thing the billionaire cared about. Cedrick waited. He didn't speak to the other staff. He just waited. He was nervous. What if she wouldn't come back? What if the humiliation was too deep? He had let her be broken. He had watched her walk away. He, the rich man, had a lot to apologize for. This was emotional. He knew that firing the manager wasn't enough. That was just punishment. What he needed now was restoration. He needed to make this right. This heart-touching story wasn't over. He had to face Beverly. Not as the old man, but as Cedrick, the man who had inadvertently caused her so much pain. The car was returning. He saw it through the window. His heart, his cynical billionaire heart, was pounding. She was here. The gardener was back, and she had no idea what was waiting for her. The final surprise was about to be delivered. Beverly Chambers was in a daze. She had been woken up by a man in a suit knocking on her apartment door. A Bentley was parked outside. She thought she was being arrested, that the humiliation was about to get worse. "Mr. Barber requests your presence back at the estate." "Miss." She was terrified. But what could she do? The poor girl got in the luxury car, her mind reeling. This was a shocking turn of events. She was escorted back into the main hall. The entire staff was still there, lined up. They looked at her differently, with awe. And there, at the front, was him, the billionaire, the estate owner, the man from the helicopter, the man with the eyes of the old man. Oh my God! The plot twist hit her like a train. It was him. Cedrick Barber walked toward her, and the entire room held its breath. He stopped right in front of her, and then the billionaire estate owner, in front of everyone, God apologized to Beverly. MS Chambers, I owe you the deepest apology. His voice was thick with an emotional weight she had never heard. What was done to you was an injustice. It was my fault. Beverly was stunned silent. This was the ultimate surprise. I was conducting a test, he said, a kindness test. I was in disguise. I was the old man you helped. He looked at the staff. I was the old man you all ignored. He looked back at Beverly. You were the only one, the only person on this entire estate who showed genuine, selfless, incomprehensible kindness. The evidence against you, he said, was a lie. The manager responsible has been fired. Beverly was trembling, trying to process the life-changing news. She was innocent. It was a test. The humiliation, the pain, it was all part of the game. Cedrick saw the look on her face, and his heart ached. It was a cruel thing to do, he said softly, and you deserved none of it. But what you did, you didn't just pass a test, Beverly. You reminded me what it means to be human. The position of head manager, Cedrick announced, his voice booming again, that the one Thompson just vacated. That is now yours. What? The staff gasped. Beverly's knees buckled from Gardner to head manager. The poor girl was now. The boss? No. That I can't. You can, Cedrick said, you are the only one who cannot. I don't need a manager who knows plants, he said, his voice raw. I need a manager who knows people. That I need someone with integrity, out with compassion. That I need. This was redemption, complete and total, from humiliated to honored. In front of everyone, this was a heart-touching moment that no one would ever forget. The rich man, poor woman story had been turned on its head. The billionaire wasn't saving the poor girl in his eyes. She was the one with the real power. He was just, without recognizing it, he was promoting her to be head manager of the entire grounds. This was more than a job. It was a statement that kindness was now the law of the land. The staff erupted in applause, genuine, thunderous applause. They weren't just clapping for her promotion. They were clapping for the justice they had just witnessed. Beverly Chambers, the gardener, stood there, tears streaming down her face. But this time, they were tears of surprise. Tears of relief. Tears of redemption. Cedrick dismissed the staff. A quiet order. They filed out, still buzzing from the shocking drama. Finally, it was just the two of them in the cavernous hall. Cedrick Barber, the billionaire, and Beverly Chambers, the head manager. She was still trembling, looking at her hands. I don't know what to say. Mr. Barber. Call me Cedrick, he said, his voice gentle. He walked over to the window, looking out at the gardens. At her gardens. I need to make a grand, heartfelt confession, he said, not looking at her. This wasn't just a kindness test. Not really. He turned to face her, and the rich man looked vulnerable. It was a despair test. My despair. I was a broken, cynical man. I hated people. I built this estate to hide from them, from their greed. I was so sure I knew the truth about humanity. He continued, that everyone is selfish, that kindness is a lie. I set up this old man disguise, this secret identity, to prove it. I wanted you to fail. Beverly, I wanted you to all fail, so I could be right in my miserable little fortress. This emotional confession was more heart-touching than the promotion. This was the real plot twist. And then you, he said, taking a step closer to you, with your last bottle of water, to your lunch, to you, who found a wallet that could change your life. And you didn't take a dime. You didn't just pass my test. Beverly, he looked her right in the eyes. You saved me. Well, the poor girl had saved the billionaire. You saved me from my own cynicism. He whispered, you showed me the meaning of true worth. It has nothing to do with this. He waved his hand at the opulent hall. It has to do with you, with your character. Your kindness wasn't just real. It was powerful. It was life-changing. It was My redemption. Beverly was crying again, but for a whole new reason. He smiled, a real smile, not the grimace of the billionaire. So, Ms. Chambers, my new head manager, I have a final request, the promotion. Of a sort, she looked up, confused. I'd like to ask you to dinner. Beverly's eyes went wide. This was a star of A. Love story? He quickly held up his hands, laughing to not as your boss, not as the estate owner and his employee. That's a rich man, poor woman story, and frankly, I'm tired. I want to go to dinner. As your equal, as Cedrick, the man you saved. With Beverly, the woman who taught him how to be human again. I want to get to know the person who showed me what true love for humanity looks like. She looked at him, this powerful, broken, real man. And for the first time, she wasn't the poor girl. She wasn't the gardener. She was just Beverly. And he was just Cedrick. And she smiled. A real, genuine smile. I do like that, Cedrick. I do like that very much. The heart-touching story wasn't over. It was a life-changing new beginning. Today's heart-touching story proves a powerful lesson: kindness is never a weakness. In a world full of cynics, it is a one, true, life-changing superpower. It was the one thing the billionaire couldn't buy, but the gardener possessed all along. If you also believe that compassion is your strength, and that true love for humanity is worth fighting for, then you have found your place. Subscribe right now and join our community, a family that believes in the redemption and power of a good heart. Now, let's do our 3-part mission to spread this message. Like this video as a signal to the world that kindness must win. Comment with our emotional question: which one of Beverly's actions hit you the hardest? The water, the wallet, or her lunch? Let us know below. Share this story with one person in your life who is a Beverly, someone whose goodness deserves to be celebrated. And don't let the journey end here. While you wait for our next upload, know that our channel is a treasure chest of shocking and emotional stories just like this one. Explore our older videos and discover the other plot twists and heart-touching moments you might have missed. And finally, to make sure you never miss out on the incredible stories we have coming, hit that notification bell. You won't want to be left out of the next adventure.